A lot of women who struggle with desire are also the most responsible people in their lives. They're the capable ones, the ones who hold everything together. They manage the family, the schedules, the emotions, the logistics. And from the outside, their lives look successful. But inside their bodies, something slowly goes quiet. Their desire fades, their vitality fades. And when this happens, most women assume something is wrong with them. But often, nothing is broken. The nervous system simply adapted to years of responsibility. And so, in this episode, we're unpacking why responsible women often lose their desire and how reconnecting with sensation brings it back. So, Barbara, tell me from your perspective, your experience working with clients on this very issue, why do the most responsible, capable, successful women often end up feeling the most disconnected from their bodies, from pleasure, from desire? What's that all about?
So what happens is, and if you notice if you're listening right now, is like responsibility trains the nervous system for vigilance.
Yes. So true.
Many women who identify as like the one that has to hold it all together, they grew up being rewarded for that. So it's like this like algorithm that continues to perpetuate itself. Like I'm the responsible one, I have to hold it all together, and then that's how I will get love.
Right.
And that's like the message that they like have gotten, and they keep just it's like on automatic over and over again. And it might look like, being the reliable daughter, the emotional caretaker in relationships, the one who keeps the household or workplace like on point. Like everything is functioning exactly like it needs to be. The woman who anticipates everything before it happens. So she's always constantly like in the future thinking about like this could go wrong, or this could like I need to prepare, like very overly prepared. Like I used to call myself like what is it? Like Mary Poppins. Like I had a bag, like I have a bag that I take with me some places where it has like, gorilla glue and like a first aid kit and like I don't even kids, right? Like I was constantly prepared for everything. So
Yeah.
like that takes up so much real estate in your brain and in your nervous system, and your body is so locked into something can go wrong, and I will be the one that jumps in and rescues everything, that there's no like room for any joy or fun or pleasure because you're constantly scanning for problems. You're like anticipating everyone's needs. You're
Yeah.
staying fucking hyper alert. And re- like responsibility becomes like a constant low level vigilance.
Yeah.
And while like vigilance can make you like the trustworthy one and super capable of handling everything, it also means your body is often living in a subtle form of like hyper awareness and control, like the
Yeah.
control enthusiasts we've talked about in other episodes,
Mhm.
rather than relaxation. And libido, in order for it to really have space for desire to come back online,
Yeah.
a woman needs to feel the big S word, safe.
Yeah.
Safe where she is right now in the present moment. Nothing needs to get done. Nothing needs to be taken care of. It's like, how can I boundary up that part of me that is hyper responsible, super? How can I let go and let myself just feel safe and relaxed in this moment? If you cannot do that, you will then make yourself wrong and be like, my libido is broken.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hear this all the time because most of the women I work with, I would describe as highly capable, generally highly successful women who either have a career or running their own business, or in some cases they're just running a big household, but they're super competent, right? Like they get shit done. They can take care of things and they show up and they're like, I feel numb. I'm always exhausted. I can't relax. I never feel turned on anymore. What's wrong with me? Should I get the testosterone cream? Should I get the estrogen patch? And maybe those things will help you, but it's the thing to address first is exactly what you're describing, is the fact that your nervous system has gotten into a pattern that is basically contraindicated for libido, for sensuality, for the safety that's required for that. So let's talk a little bit about what's actually happening in the nervous system, like when someone lives in chronic
I just
responsibility.
wanna back up because you just said something
Oh, yeah.
super important where you're
Mm.
like where women are like, "Maybe I get this cream or maybe I do this." Like, so, like, yes. So, especially if you're someone super responsible, you're wired to be like, "How can I fix this?" Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the focus is on how can I fix this? And the question that I would have you ask if you're listening to this is, how do you switch your focus to a new question of, "How can I create safety in my body?"
Yeah.
Right now, right?
Yes.
And that doesn't mean to go out and buy something or do something like that. Like, how can I let go of control and feel safe in the unknown right now, which is the mastery, which is super hard, and which is why we created the Central Sisterhood and we have premium. And that's what we do because this world is structured to have gloom and doom every day and make us want to feel prepared and tells us a lot of things that keep us prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. It's true. The world is set up in a way that deprioritizes this stuff on a good day. And then you add in, whatever your life things are and whatever's happening in the larger world. And it's really hard to see how you'll ever shift out of it. But it's actually easier than it sounds. And we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about how you can start to bring sensation back, how you can start to create that sense of safety for yourself, and how you can help your nervous system get out of this vigilant mode that's keeping your libido, on like mute, basically, on the snooze button. But to unpack what's actually happening in the nervous system so you can understand, right? We're not talking about your conscious thought. Consciously, you're probably like, no, I totally want to have sex and I totally want my libido to be healthy. And I know that's a marker of wellness in general for people. And I want these things. But the thing is that your nervous system is working behind the scenes, right? It's not about your conscious thought. It's
Correct.
basically monitoring for you and deciding, what is safe and what is going to keep you in the familiar, so to speak. And so if you've been prioritizing control, if you've been constantly scanning for problems, if you're super responsible, then your nervous system is not oriented towards curiosity or pleasure or sensation, because those things are a distraction from getting shit done, right? So responsibility is creating that constant cognitive load, emotional monitoring, that vigilance, and even like the hormones and the neurobiological, like the chemistry that's happening in your body is such that you're not gonna feel safe. You can't quite tap into your own desire when cortisol is high, right? Serotonin is low, like you're just gonna stay there. Whereas desire requires presence and sensation, not the management and control.
Right, exactly. So, like, when you're in vigilance mode, your brain is asking, like, what needs to be done right now? Like the to-do list.
Yeah.
What might go wrong?
Yep.
What do others need from me? Is this person taken care of? Are the kids going to be like all of these things, like the calendaring, the scheduling? There's constant pylon on the nervous system.
Yeah.
And when that happens, there's like the sensations offline on purpose because your body's just trying to do what you're wanting it to do. It's
Yeah.
trying to fly with you. Your body's always on your side. Like your libido isn't on the way that you want it to be because your focus is on getting all the shit done and being super responsible. So
Yeah.
it's like you just don't know the truth behind, okay, I need to like let go of responsibilities at certain points in my day to experience pleasure just so I can refuel myself. Because
Yeah.
if you don't have those moments in your day, if you don't have those moments in your week or year, they're just going to stack and you're just going to be a machine and your body is complying with that. Your body's actually fucking amazing and phenomenal, your nervous system, because it's actually taking the messages from you. You just don't know that it is. Like your
Yeah.
subconscious is on board with you when it's in that hyper vigilant state because there's so much going on. There's so much you need to do. There's so much invisible work for the woman in the household of her life that has to get done. Um, but sensation lives in a different question entirely. And that is, what do I feel right now? Right now
Yes. Yeah.
versus what needs.
Actually, I love that. Responsibility monitors, desire feels is kind of like the quick flashcards I got when you were saying that.
Yeah, and then so feeling is a twofold thing, right?
Mhm.
I talk about this all the time because people are like, there's emotions, but there's also sensation that is connected to the emotions. So oftentimes I'll be like, oh, like if I'm working with a client and it's like, I'm so angry, and she'll want to tell a story. And the story is actually the thing that takes you away from the sensation and actually keeps you in the story, and then it keeps looping and you don't actually get the benefit and understanding what's happening with you and your body. But what your body is doing, it wants to fully feel the feeling within the cycle. And a feeling lasts like 90 seconds, a full feeling. So if you let yourself feel the feeling, it means feeling the emotion and also feeling the sensation with the emotion. To
Yeah.
experience desire in the body, you must be able to feel the warmth, the
Yeah.
tingling, like the
Yeah.
curiosity, the pleasure, the longing, the hunger for the experience. But
Yeah.
like that hypervigilant state dulls those signals on purpose
Yeah.
because you got to get shit done.
Yeah. Yeah, as we're talking about this, like, it's so resonating with me and my story back to my body, and it's making me recognize how much, it was like years of moving away from being in my body and more in my head, which is normal, right? In our society, that's normal. Most of us are living mostly from the neck up, and the body, like, occasionally we pay attention to when it's not cooperating with us and we need to like wrangle it somehow. But I remember that same loop of I feel kind of numb. I used to feel really sensual and used to really enjoy these different sensations. And I just like, I don't even care about them anymore. And it was so much of this like functioning from the neck up and not really paying attention to anything that's happening down here. And it happens like invisibly. It happens over time. It's reinforced. It's the conditioning. It's the loop. And that's what the nervous system learns.
Oh my God, I just had like a big like breakthrough aha moment, which probably people listening, they're like, oh, it's not like a hot, like it is, but it is obvious. And it's like, because when you're saying like, I used to have all the sensation when you think about it, and this is what the big lie is about older women are like over and they should like their libidos are broken, all this stuff. The
Yeah.
thing is, when you are younger, think about it this way. How much responsibility did you have?
Yeah.
You
It's true.
had
Exactly. Yeah.
much responsibility. You
Yeah.
had to be in the sensation
Yeah.
of the experience. You had time and space for
Yes.
that. And
Yeah.
as you get older and life moves on, you take on all of these responsibility. And in this patriarchal world where like women we don't feel, why do we even do like over responsibility or like we're in our overly masculine is because we don't feel safe in the masculine. So we take it too far because the feminine really doesn't need to do that, but you haven't given yourself that opportunity. Instead, you go harder
Yeah.
because everyone around you is going harder too. You've watched your mom do it, your aunties, your coworkers, your colleagues, your friends. And, it's like, again, that Brene Brown thing that where she says, like, busyness is a badge of honor, but there's
Yeah.
no room for the feminine to truly live. And that's where, like, the misery is because your body is also, while it is complying with you because it's so genius, it's
Yeah.
also like, I'm fucking dying. It
Yeah.
misses the libido. It misses that experience of when you were younger. And it's not because you were younger, it's because you let all of the responsibilities make that experience obsolete for you.
Yeah, it just reshapes it, it's true. And I wanna add that When I started doing the practices, which we're going to get to in a moment, some of the things that you can do right now today to start shifting back more into your body, more into sensation, so that desire can start to come back online. When I started to do that, when I started trying to fix this problem, because I was a responsible, successful, capable woman, so I was going to fix my problem, right? I remember initially like being like, okay, I'm just gonna breathe for a few moments. Like I started with the breath. I'm gonna just like use my fingertips to like feel my skin and just take a moment of sensation, right? Like for example, and I remember that I would do that for a minute and I'd be like, okay, and now like desire's not back. Right? Like who's got time for this? And what really shifted it for me was being in sisterhood, was being with other women who were facing the same problem and we're at the same like, I want to feel alive again. What the fuck is going on? How do we turn this back on? And having the permission with other women to take our fucking time and slow down and actually feel things over and over and over again, like on a consistent practice basis. And I say that because that is why we created the Sensual Sisterhood, which we talk about in every episode. It's our free community for women 40 plus, where we specifically do exactly what we're talking about. We help you reconnect with your own desire, with your own sensuality. We help you bring yourself back into your body and out of your head. And I'm making a big fuss about this because it just dawned on me like, I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for being in sisterhood. Like I wouldn't have gotten here on my own. Maybe eventually, maybe, but probably not because there's so much momentum telling us like that's not productive. Nobody has time. You're a grown woman with a business and a family and responsibilities. You don't have time to spend 20 minutes a day practicing pleasure. But you know what? Not only do you actually have time, but when you start to make that shift, you start to discover that time is actually working in your favor when you slow the fuck down. But we'll get to that later. Okay, off my soapbox.
Here's the thing about sisterhood and like and why it's so valuable. Even if you aren't in like a sisterhood, so to speak, right now, you really are. And here's the deal. Okay. We learn from one another. That's how we learn. So if you are in this hyper responsibility mode, you have learned that. That is learned behavior. And it gets reinforced by the people who are around you. So it becomes almost like this like sub unconscious competition because it's like I want to feel like a functioning human, so I got to go do because everyone else around, all the other women are doing around me, and then we get together and complain about how we're not having pleasure in our life. That is the community. That is the sisterhood that I was in. I was
Yeah.
in that. I just
Yeah.
didn't call it a sisterhood, right?
Hmm.
Then I was like, fuck this, because what you focus on expands.
Yeah.
And so you have to be brave enough and bold enough being like, it's not about not being responsible anymore, but it's about stretching the responsibility into saying, I'm going to be responsible for my pleasure and putting
Yeah.
yourself into another sisterhood where, like, the focus now is expanding the pleasure and actually being like, wait, I see that there's a different way and
Yeah.
learning these new things because the thing is that if what we're saying is tracking with your body right now, if this is resonant, you're learning it from sisterhood in real time.
Yes. Yes. So well said. So well said. So, with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about how we can actually come back into our bodies, how we can come back to sensation, how we can shift out of responsibility mode and start feeling alive again. Um, and I think I've already mentioned some of the things, right? Some of the more straightforward ones like slowing down, right? Slowing down daily experiences, slowing down particularly sensory experiences, and dedicating some time to just reconnecting with sensation. Like I was saying, I would sometimes just sit and just be like, okay, I'm going to close my eyes, use my fingertips, and just like trace little circles around my arm. And I'm just going to pay attention to that, like that fucking simple. Um, what is your prescription, Barbara, for how a woman can get started on this?
It's very similar. So it's really, we can do it together right now. If you're listening, please go for it. Wherever you are, just taking a second, taking the time, closing your eyes, and taking a nice deep breath in all the way down to pussy and holding it and placing, make sure your palms are somewhere on your body as you're holding this breath. And now you're going to release it and you're going to sound on the way out. Just taking another deep breath in all the way down to pussy, making sure palms are somewhere on your body, somewhere that feels good. Maybe it's your chest, maybe it's your womb, maybe it's your pussy on outer clothes. It's just a saying hello and saying hi, I see you to your body and sounding on the way out. Ah. And one more time, really letting, like, imagining it's like a balloon. You're like, your body is a balloon and you're taking up all of this space with this breath, letting your shoulders drop down. Maybe you're like moving that jaw around. Like, does it need to be moved around? Making sure your hands are somewhere on your body. And when you're ready, sounding on the way out. Ah. And just before opening your eyes, noticing what's the difference between taking those 3 deep breaths and what you felt like before you did it and right now. And how does that feel in your body? What are the sensations that are coming up? Taking note of the sensations. You want to like take note of the softness. You want to notice, did the jaw actually feel looser? Did your shoulders actually come down more? Um, does that feel like pleasurable for you? Do you feel like you've slowed down a little bit? And does that feel pleasurable for you? Is there tingling? Is there heat that was created? Uh, is your body like talking to you in a way that you might want to pay attention to a little bit more right now? And when you're ready, coming back to the screen. Um, well, maybe we'll do it with you. Did you notice anything?
Totally. It just immediately takes everything down, like slows the pace of my thinking, my breath, like my heartbeat. Um, it brings me into my body and out of my head, quite simply. Even just those few little breaths. And that I think is that's the start of it, right? That's the essence is the slowing down, the reconnecting with sensory awareness, creating moments of even tiny moments of pleasure in daily life, right? Like I've been enjoying this cup of tea while we've been recording this episode. And just every time I go to take a sip, I'll take a sniff. So I'll actually smell it and then I'll actually notice the taste versus just gulping it down, right? These little moments of exploring sensation, warm water on your skin, sunlight, physical movement, deep breath. And the goal really isn't about forcing desire or I'm not sitting here thinking like I need my libido to come back so I'm going to breathe deeply. It's restoring sensation and safety so that your nervous system can dial down the responsibility and allow you to get curious and experience something pleasurable, right? Like desire will naturally reappear when you do these things versus I need to pursue my libido or my desire, but continue doing everything that I've been doing in responsibility mode. Yeah.
Correct. I mean, what when you start to, again, there's the feeling and then there's the sensation. So we want to notice, what am I feeling? And whatever it is, whether it's anxiety or fear or love, whatever, those feelings have sensations that are tied into them. And when you actually give yourself the gift of getting really present to the feeling and the sensations that are happening in the body, this magical thing happens when sensation emerges and it's called vitality.
Yes.
And vitality is that thing that you had when you were younger,
Yeah.
when you didn't have all of the responsibilities, going back
Yeah.
to what I said before.
Mhm.
And when sensation returns, like, the vitality is the life force of desire.
Yeah.
Desire does not exist without vitality.
Yeah.
So, vitality is like it's like the jump off.
Mm.
And in the vitality, because again, what happens is when we both just did that exercise, we both softened. I have a lot going on today. I have a lot earlier before we film this, a lot after going on, but I got just so present. I felt my jaw soften. I felt my shoulders just like, take a break, take a breather. And now I'm already feeling more sensual and slow down. And then now there's more space to be like, oh, wait, there's creativity. There's like, oh, what do I want to do? How do I want to move through the day? What like I could even ask myself, okay, if I don't have enough time to get everything done, instead of forcing myself to try and get everything done, what are the most important things? How can I do them in pleasure? Like, and that's when desire starts to come back online because the vitality, that life force
Yes.
has your attention. It's always there,
Yeah.
but now you are connected to it, mind, body, and soul.
Yes. Beautifully said. Yeah. So if you've been the responsible one for most of your life, or at least your adult life, it makes complete sense that your body might feel disconnected from desire, that your nervous system has been prioritizing responsibility and management and control. But that doesn't mean that your vitality, as Barbara was just saying, disappeared. It simply means that your body adapted to the environment it was living in. And when women begin reconnecting with sensation in their body, something remarkable happens. Their aliveness comes back online. That's what we see every day inside the Central Sisterhood. And so, if you want to explore these conversations more deeply with other women who are on the same journey and actually practice some of these pleasure practices, you're always welcome inside the Central Sisterhood community. You'll find the link in the description. Is there any final words of wisdom you want to add, Barbara, before we land this plane?
Uh, yeah, it's just like when you come through and be with us in the Sensual Sisterhood, you will see, just like you saw in the very few seconds that we just did that that vitality, when you start to prioritize your pleasure, you become the source of your own aliveness, that it's not lost to you. It has nothing to do with age. It's all a lie. And it's really about making that decision of, I'm going to prioritize this because I do miss that feeling. You had that feeling for a reason when you were a kid, and now you have permission to get back there. And it's really a decision of,
Yes.
am I going to do it or not?
Yes.
And we are here for you to support you in getting back there.
That's right. 1,000 times yes. So thank you all for joining us today. We'll be back next week. Again, link to the Essential Sisterhood is below. And until then, just remember that pleasure is not a luxury. It is the way back to yourself. We'll see you next week.